Alright, so today we're going to be putting a tire back on after we've already removed it. We've taken it off the rim, and now we need to put our brand new tire on. So if we're working in a shop, we might do this when we are putting on new tires for a person that might have bought a new set of 4 or 2, depending on what we might be doing. But this is the machine that we're going to be using to do so. And we have our new tire here that is here to work with us. So what we're going to do to start off is we need to start in the reverse process of how we put it on. So first thing we need to do is we're going to bring the control arm over. So I'm going to put my tire on an angle so I have space to bring my control arm over. I'm going to swing the control arm in place. I'm going to press down on the control arm, and I'm going to swing it in place so you can see the silver part is touching all around the duck's head and tail. You can see it right here. Beak's head, beak's tail, and now I can lock it in place by pushing it away from me. Now this should stay in place, and I can pull my tire up and over, and my control arm is in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some lubricant, which will usually be in this bucket right here. I'm going to fill it up for us, and what we're going to do is we're going to pour some lubricant on the tire in order to make sure that the tire actually goes on smoothly and without issue. So I'm going to grab this lubricant, and it will go around the rim on both sides. So I'm going to go here, go around, and it's kind of just soap in a way, but it's more of a oily soap, so it'll actually help with getting the tire on. It's supposed to make it slippery so you don't damage the rim like the chunks are here. And so we want to make sure that this is all the way around on both sides. So I'm going to go around, and if I want to do this before I put the tire on, I could do this as well, but this is just an easier way for me to do it and faster. I've lubricated the tire as much as possible, and now I'm going to actually put the tire on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use leverage to put this tire on. So I'm literally just going to push here with both my hands on the base of the tire, and I'm just going to spin. And as my tire is under the duck's tail and the duck's head all the way around, and I'm just pushing against the rim, it will act as its own lever, and the bottom of the tire will actually go on. So I'm just going to let this spin, and it drops in place very easily. So that part is done, but we still have to put the top on, otherwise the tire doesn't really do much, and this is the important part. This is where it gets a little confusing. We need to make sure that our tire is not sitting like this, but it is actually sitting under the duck's beak, so under on the left side, and over the duck's tail or over on the right side. So you can see that we are over the tail and under the beak and the head. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to curl my knuckles so I don't pinch my fingers, because I don't want you guys to hurt yourselves, and no one wants you to get hurt on the job. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll our knuckles in so we can't pinch anything, and we're just going to push down with our knuckles and our fingers and let the wheels rotate in order to lock in place. So I'm over under, and you can see that it's getting on the groove over and under. You can see it's under on this side and over here, which is why we go over under, and then eventually when we go all the way around, it'll be under completely all the way around. I'm going to finish going all the way around, and it'll pop in place. The tire's now on, but the problem is it's not in the right spot. As you can see, there's that gap on the bottom that we don't want. So I'm going to lift my control arm, push my control arm out of the way so it's not in the way of what I'm doing, and now I can actually work on setting the bead, which is the outside part touching the rim to the best of its ability. So what we're going to do is, to make our lives easier, I usually spin the valve stem around to the other side, because on this side we have access to a tire valve where we can fill air up and fill the air up so it sits even on both sides. What we're first going to do is we're going to put the tire on, and there's 2 modes to this. There's a tap mode, where if you tap, air pressure will slightly come out, and then there is a mode where if you push all the way down, it's tire sealing. So the goal is to pop those beads in place. So I can start filling so my bead is all the way up, and then I can pop it in place, and it should bring the beads level on both sides. So we're going to first look up the tire pressure that our car is supposed to have. I know that this tire is supposed to be around 30 to 35 PSI, so I'm going to do about 32. I'm going to connect to my tire pressure gauge. I have a gauge here, and I will fill up until I... With this tire, we cannot do so because the tire is very broken, but you get the idea that we're going to watch the gauge until we get to the PSI that we're supposed to be at. PSI being the pressure. Once we are done with that, we can remove our tire just like we put it on. We're going to go to the clamps and we're going to push down to unclamp the tire. And then we are all good to take our tire over to the balancer to get some weights on it and then put it on the car.